Osaka Castle, 1598. The imperial tournament was held once each year. Spectacle meant to display mastery before the emperor himself. Ryota was 22 years old. He was the pride of his dojo, undefeated in 17 straight matches, spoken of as a future legend. As he stepped into the arena, more than 3,000 eyes followed him. His opponent stood quietly across the sanda, nameless ronin from the mountains. No lineage, no formal instruction, no reputation worth mentioning. The contest ended in 8 seconds. Ryota did not advance, did not retreat. He stopped. His thoughts vanished. His body failed to answer him.
The Ronins.
Wooden blade struck his face once, twice, then again before. Ryota even lifted his weapon. Silence swept the arena, then laughter broke it. Murmurs followed. And finally the humiliation that would cling to him for the next 3 years. Miyamoto Musashi once wrote that a man can fight only as he is trained. What few ever mention is that a man can live only as he is trained as well. When discipline fades, when direction dissolves, when identity unravels, the loss goes far beyond skill. One does not merely fail at a craft, one collapses as a person. This is not the tale of a warrior defeated by injury or outmatched by strength. It is the story of a warrior undone by something far more severe. He lost his sense of self, and the path back from that void, the road rarely spoken of, is the true test of a warrior's life. The real question is not whether you will fall, it is whether you will rise once you do. 3 days after the duel, Ryota sat alone within his family's estate, staring at the sword resting before him. He could not bring himself to touch it. 2 decades of relentless training, 17 victories without defeat, his teacher's respect, his father's honor, his village's faith, all erased in 8 seconds. The bruises on his face would fade quickly. The damage beneath them would not. He replayed the moment endlessly. The Ronins approached, the expectant crowd, the signal to begin, then emptiness. There was no panic, no deliberate fear, simply a hollow absence where instinct should have lived. His body locked. His mind went silent, and within that silence came a realization that frightened him more than any blade. He no longer knew who he was. From childhood, Ryota had been defined by discipline. He was the one who endured, the one who sacrificed. One destined to elevate his family's name, he rose before dawn, practiced until dusk, meditated through the night. He denied himself pleasure, distraction, and indulgence. His routine was his identity. His effort was his purpose. His ability was his worth. And in a single moment, the foundation cracked, not because it was false, but because it was fragile. Built on performance. Dependent on pressure never arriving, he attempted to return to training. His hands shook as he held the sword. Tada, his teacher, watched quietly before speaking. "Your grip is too tight." Ryota nodded, unable to loosen it. Every movement felt unnatural, lifeless. "You may need time away." "I don't need rest," Ryota said, though he did not know what he truly needed. How does one repair what cannot be identified? Other students trained nearby. Some avoided him, some whispered. The youngest, once inspired by him, would not meet his gaze. Eventually, Tada approached again. "Go home. Return when you are ready." "I am ready. You're present in body," Tada replied, "but absent in spirit." That sentence struck deeper than any blow. That night, Ryota skipped meditation. For the first time in 8 years, he chose not to practice. The relief startled him. It felt like shedding armor. He had worn 2 long days stretched into weeks. Ryota stopped visiting the dojo. At first he called it a pause, a necessary distance, but the pause became avoidance. He began to drink, not excessively, just enough to silence the accusations echoing in his mind. Failure, pretender, weakling. His father confronted him. "You disgrace our lineage." "I already did," Ryota replied. "What difference does it make now? You abandon everything you were taught." "It abandoned me first." The bitterness surprised even him. "I devoted my life to mastery," he continued. "And when it mattered, I froze." What was the value of that devotion? His father struck him. Then rebuild, the man demanded. I can't. You refuse to. I don't know who I am anymore. The warrior I believed in never existed. So what exactly am I rebuilding? His father left without responding. There was nothing he could say. Ryota sank further. His days blurred into sleep. His nights dissolved into drink. Wealth earned through generations of service disappeared at gambling tables. The man who once rose before sunrise could not wake before midday. The ascetic became indulgent. The follower of Bushido mocked every principle he once revered. Worst of all, he felt nothing. No regret. No shame. Just a vast, indifferent void. One night, staggering through Osaka's streets, he encountered former companions from his dojo. Ryota, Kenji asked, barely recognizing him. What happened? Ryota laughed bitterly. I discovered. The truth? I was never who you thought I was. Kenji's expression softened into pity. That look cut deeper than contempt. Come back, Kenji urged. Master Tada, he can't repair what no longer exists. Ryota vanished into the night. 6 months after the duel, a monk found him collapsed in an alley, weak and starving. The monk knelt beside him, eyes sharp, expression calm. You are dying, the monk said. Good. Not from hunger, from absence. You've erased yourself. While still breathing, you don't understand. I understand completely. You lost once and chose to lose everything else afterward. The truth of it pierced through Ryota's numbness. Who are you? He asked. Someone who walked your road to its end. And what lies there? Either rebirth or death. Decide quickly. This path does not turn back. The monk stood. If you wish to find another way, come to Koyasan Temple. Third bell after. Dawn? Why would I? Because some fragment of you still wants to live fully. That fragment will bring you. The monk departed. Ryota remained on the ground for hours, staring upward. He felt nothing. Then something shifted, not hope, not resolve. Curiosity. What if there truly is another way? 3 days later, Ryota arrived at the temple, unwashed, exhausted, skeptical. The monk who called himself Bodhidharma pointed to a mat. Sit. They remained silent for an hour. Ryota's body ached. His thoughts screamed. Stillness felt unbearable. Finally, he spoke. Why am I here? You believe losing yourself was the tragedy? Bodhidharma replied. It wasn't. What could be worse? You assumed there was a permanent self to lose. Ryota frowned. Before the duel, the monk continued. Who were you? A warrior. No, that was what you did. What's the difference? Everything. Identity, Bodhidharma explained, does not exist as a fixed object. It exists in action. Ryota had built himself from victories, approval, reputation. That was not practice. That was performance. Performance collapses under pressure. You don't rebuild who you were, Bodhidharma said. You begin from nothing. Impossible. Good, that means you're ready. The next morning, Ryota was handed a wooden sword. Your first lesson, Bodhidharma said. I've trained for decades. Today you begin for the first time. Ryota's hand trembled. Memory surged. He dropped the sword. Good, Bodhidharma said calmly. Fear means you are alive again. The old Ryota cannot do this. He is dead. God, the one standing here has no past. Slowly, Ryota lifted the sword again. Not from habit, not from memory. From presence. His movements were clumsy, imperfect, real. For the first time in years, he was not performing. He was simply there. And that was enough. Years later, when Ryota returned to the Osaka arena to face the same Ronin, he did not seek redemption or victory. He sought presence. This time he did not freeze. He flowed. Not because he had perfected himself, but because he no longer needed to be perfect. When the duel ended, there was no triumph, no despair. Only awareness. Only now. The Ronin bowed deeply. You are no longer afraid to lose. Ryota nodded. Right. I no longer need to win. You can only fight the way you practice. You can only live the way you practice. And when practice becomes presence, identity becomes unbreakable. Loss is not. The end. It is the beginning. If you are willing to build forward instead of clinging to what died, that is the warrior's path. And everyone, eventually, must walk it.